My name is Farhad. I'm CEO of Cocoon. Today, my goal here in this workshop is to help you to do two things. First is to grow revenue, and second is to get your time back as people who are leading other people. And how we will aim to accomplish it is through the lens of decisions. So to help you get better at making management team decisions so that you at the same time achieve better core team alignment. To achieve this goal, I want to give you also three beliefs. First, that collective intelligence and intuition unlocks better decisions. Second, that people execute better when they could impact the decision that they are executing. And third, that leaders' ability to maintain creative tension, and I will talk about it, is critical for making better management decisions and getting team alignment. Now, before we continue, also want to give a couple sentences for context why I am talking about these topics. I am leading Cocoon for already 6+ years and also a mentor for founders and company and team leaders. And I've been in more than a few thousand mentoring sessions already, in group sessions together with my team. And this with time gives a perspective of what are the problems, what are the challenges underneath, what are the root causes, and what are the chain reactions. If you do this, what will happen, and if you do that, what will happen. So this is kind of one perspective that I have. Another perspective, I've invested more than 5,000 hours in self-discovery and psychology. And this then has equipped me with quite many tools and frameworks, how to look at human interactions and human interactions also inside the human. And those two combined then gives the framework and the basis of what tools we teach to our clients. And this also is the basis of what tools I aim to teach you today, with the goal that with these tools, I know that if you use them, you can get much better team alignment and also better decisions. And therefore, on one hand, this is for experienced leaders who already have been leading teams for many years, and maybe you will find new perspectives on some best practices that you're already using. But for the newer leaders, this is a set of tools that, if you use them, will become fundamental, meaning you will use those tools till the end of your leading days. And you will see it and remember years after. So the agenda today, we have 5 parts. First, I will explain the Polarity framework, which is well known, just to remind it, because that is on what everything else builds here. Then we'll talk about creative collaboration method. Then we will have a peer breakout room practice, and this is the part where you will need those two things, which I will explain before. And then we will talk about third, which is decide and commit method, and then we will still have time for Q&A. Basically, that was why the workshop is 80 minutes, not 60 minutes, so that we have time for Q&A at the end. I already mentioned in passing that this is a practical workshop, so that's why this picture, not a dentist chair picture, because at dentist you come, open mouth, and then the dentist does everything, and then you close your mouth and go home. Here it's a bit different. You will need to do work, and it will work for you only if you do the work. Therefore, what I ask you is that you commit for yourself that you will listen, close the chats and Slacks and WhatsApps and whatnot, but listen, invest this time for yourself, and you will participate in practices that will come up. Many practices will be just inside yourself, but I ask you to commit that you will practice them, and that afterwards you will think what was useful, take it and implement it in your work. So therefore I ask you to commit for this. I'm not asking to write it anywhere, but if you feel like committing for it, just say inside of yourself yes, so that you hear your voice where you say yes. And hopefully you do commit, because that's actually the only way how to extract value from what's going to proceed further. Then with this, let's continue now into already the workshop content itself. So first I want to talk about the Polarity framework. Couldn't find better picture, but the idea is such that polarities between people in interactions are the critical component to create and sustain creative tension between us, because the creative tension itself is the thing with which we can come to new ideas and align ourselves. I mean, really align, instead of fake alignment where people just yes, yes, and then everyone does something on their own. So therefore, this understanding these polarities is super critical, and it's what everything else builds upon. But as I also said, it is a well-known concept. And polarities in various literatures are called in various ways. I choose, as we are in business context, such terms as you will see, but you might have heard also other terms. So the terms that we are going to use here are leading polarity and contributing polarity. Also sometimes is said leading polarity, supportive polarity, or male polarity, female polarity, but it has nothing to do with genders. So we will use the terms leading polarity and contributing polarity, and what's important is that wherever you interact with team members, you consciously choose a polarity and you stick to it. And when you see that the other side is not staying to the polarity that they are supposed to stay in, then it is your responsibility to help them to get back to their polarity where they need to be. So if we put this in a context of a management team discussion, then the one who leads the discussion and owns the topic is in the leading polarity, and everyone else is in the contributing polarity. And if we complicate it a bit, and let's say there's a management team meeting, and now the chief marketing officer is leading a topic, then it's not CEO who's in leading polarity, it's the CMO who's in leading polarity, and even CEO is in contributing polarity if the topic owner is the CMO. Now I invite you to a trip. Imagine that you are in a car driving on a vacation trip with your spouse. In the first exercise, you are the driver. So you are the driver and I will be the passenger, and I will say phrases and I ask you to feel how you as a driver feel about what I'm saying, and click the respective emoji, either positive or negative. Yes? So you are the driver and parallelly you are looking in the phone. I'm this lady. And now I'm telling you, I feel stressed that you are driving and watching in the phone at the same time. Please click the emoji. What do you feel as the driver? Positive or negative? Okay? I see mostly positive reactions. Second, put the phone down. What do you feel? Mostly negative reactions. All right. Now let's flip the roles. You are the passenger. You told me that you feel stress, and I will be the driver and I will respond to you. Oh, sorry. And I put down the phone. What do you feel? Okay, I see mostly positive. And next one. You don't understand, I'm handling it well. I can at the same time watch the road and the phone. Mostly negative. Okay, thank you. Why we did this small exercise is so that you can feel the both polarities and how both polarities are interacting in a positive or negative way. And now I will open up and expand these ways. First, let's talk about polarity differences. Leading polarity, it is the one that is supposed to be like stable rock, that whatever comes, I will take as useful information, I will be grateful for it, and my role is also to provide safety for the contributing polarity. The contributing polarity, meanwhile, is responsible to explore the unknown and bring in information from the unknown to the leading polarity through using intuition and feeling. And this way to support the leading polarity with information that the leading polarity cannot know. And what I mean with this unknown and intuition and feeling, let's take such an example. Let's imagine that we are together climbing in this mountain, and I'm the group's leader, and I have described that this is the route that we will be taking. And you are one of the participants, and you are telling me, I feel that we are somehow going wrong way. Now, there are two options that I could do. Let's say, first I will say, what do you mean wrong way? Like, this is the closest peak. This doesn't look bigger. Our goal was to climb the biggest peak. So there's nothing wrong. Shut up. Or other option, I could say, there's something that I don't know, but she's sensing something. So I need to somehow zoom out and see this from a different angle. And if I do that, then I might notice that actually I was seeing only this part of the picture, that's what is actually going on, and that this person was somehow sensing that there's much bigger peak, something much different somewhere is. They also don't see it from here, but they might feel it. And this is what we can feel sometimes with intuition, but not with mind. But if I would just say like, shut up, I know what I'm doing, well, we would never get to this one. So this is what is meant with exploring the unknown. And exploring the unknown can happen only when the supportive polarity feels safe. Okay, now what are the properties of each of the polarities? The leading polarity uses, first of all, intent. Intent means that I know what I want to achieve. For example, I want to have a great trip together with my spouse. The second is I need to use and be able to provide clarity, that I communicate clearly and I assess everything as it is without emotion and reaction. The next is I use feeling or gut feel. So with feeling, I don't mean emotion like sadness, but I mean gut feel, like I sense something is there. Then I need to use warmth, that I care for what is happening. And finally, I need to be able to act instead of reacting. And when any of these is not present in leading polarity, then leading polarity does not work and doesn't happen. And then the contributing polarity doesn't feel safe and cannot do their role properly. And then in turn, the contributing polarity needs to use reception, that I want to and I do fully receive and grasp the leading polarity's intent. So what do they want to achieve? Second is trust, that I trust that lead polarity is able to handle everything well. Warmth, the same thing, meaning I care for the intent. This is super important. Self-worth, meaning that I value myself enough to say to myself that what I sense is important and valuable, even if I rationally cannot explain it. And finally, responsibility, and this is where I see in many our client teams sometimes, at least short term, someone failing. Contributing polarity sometimes assumes that leading polarity is fully responsible for the outcome, but it is absolutely not so. Each part is 50-50 responsible. So the contributing polarity is absolutely responsible to support the leading polarity to materialize the intent. Now, let's talk more about responsibilities. Who needs to do what in the polarity framework context? The leading polarity, first of all, is responsible to initiate action. So what are we going to achieve, and let's do it. Second is to define scope and keep focus. I will show what it means. Choose method, how we will achieve what we want to achieve, and process inputs that the contributing polarity is bringing. The contributing polarity, what they need to do, they need to participate and support the leading polarity. And how we do it? There's a list of ways to do it properly, and I will also show what are some errors, how not to do it. How we can do it is to give shared feelings. So I sense we are going the wrong direction. That's a feeling. Also, we can use emotions. I feel stress. That's also fine. Then second option, we can ask questions like, but what if a dog runs on the way? Then we can provide options. What if we do this or that? Maybe we can stop and then you can watch the phone, or I can drive and you can watch the phone. So these are options. Then when necessary, we can also challenge and provide counterbalance. This is, for example, visible in teams where, let's assume CEO is too much hectic up in the air, and then someone in the teams wait, but we need to focus on budget. This way we will just waste money and nothing will happen. So that's counterbalancing. And the last two are more when the leading polarity needs emotional and mental support. So this is, we just listen, provide space for the person to talk, and when necessary we also encourage and that I trust that you can handle, look at your past achievements and so on. So the errors that are happening from each polarity perspective are such that leading polarity, error number one, and actually everything else is just chain reaction, is reacting instead of acting. And for example, one reaction way is arguing or getting emotional. and another is rationalizing. Rationalizing example is this: what do you mean we are going the right direction, the wrong direction? This is the map. Here we are. We need to get there. Like, shut up. This is the correct way. So this is rationalizing example. Errors, and here are some of the examples, like what people use when they are reacting. So you don't understand, I hate when you say so, etc., etc. On the other side, the errors are such philosophy. This is when the contributing polarity goes into some long discussion about kind of related topic, but actually about nothing. Passivity, when they are not contributing, not discussing, complaining. This is when again this and again this, like this negative pessimistic attitude. And what is meant with mothering, this is like when the person starts to act like your mother. So if you imagine like what your mother would do when she thinks that you are not handling the situation well, this is mothering. And how we approach fixing those errors. Okay, there's a bit jumps in how it visually should approach. But so first of all, if you, as a lead polarity, you feel that the contributing polarity has gone into philosophy mode, you just feel there's something very long talking and no essence in it. So it's your responsibility to get the person to senses. And you can literally say, stop, John, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need you to focus. What do you feel about this topic in one sentence? So that's absolutely appropriate way how to get the person to senses. Then when someone is mothering, then you can flip the role and ask, what's your feeling underneath this approach? I see what you're doing, but what do you feel? So you again bring the person back to feelings. Then if someone is passive, directly approach them and say, John, but your contribution is also important. What do you feel about it? And you almost as if squeeze out from John to say something, what he feels about it. And if someone is nagging all this negative, pessimistic attitude, then you can say, yes, I hear that you see this is all bad. How would you solve it? What would you do to solve it? On the other side, so if you are in contributing polarity and you see that your leader, CEO or another who's leading the topic is reacting, then what you can say is you can again share additional feeling and you can say, I feel unsafe when you do this. Or I feel confused, I thought you wanted my thoughts and feelings, but now you are persuading that I'm feeling it wrong. Then if the person is rationalizing, you can say, I feel unheard. And if the person is arguing, you can say, I trust that anything that I said, you will just filter out what's useful and discard the rest. Meaning you don't need to go in arguing mode back. You said what you said and that's enough. So that's the theory about polarities. Now let's test in some situations. What I ask you to do is remember when was the last time when you felt clarity and safety. So connect with the clarity and safety feeling and then connect with confusion and unsafety feeling when you felt like, whoa, I don't understand what's happening and I feel unsafe. And now we will use those two feelings going through some examples. So let's start. Let's assume that you are in the team and I'm the CEO. Let's say you are one of the CXOs in the team and we will go through several situations. The first situation is I'm initiating something and I'm saying, maybe we should think about priorities sometime. What do you think? So how do you feel? Safe and clear or unclear, unsafe? And now in contrast, let's discuss and choose our quarter priorities. How about next Friday, 3 p.m.? So the first one is super fuzzy actually and unclear. The intent is not said clearly. Let's continue. Next example is about defining scope. So what we are going to discuss. Yes? So let's think about more revenue. And by the way, did Oscar pay their invoice and where is John? So that's the first example. And second example, let's focus on customer lifetime value. Currently it's X, industry average is 2x. So let's brainstorm how we can get to 2x. And I know that it's part of revenue topics, but this time we focus only on LTV. So here we have a fuzzy way to define scope and a very clear way to define scope. Next, let's go into the choosing method. Option A. So how could we proceed here? So this is me, CEO, telling you the team. Another option is, okay, first let's everyone share what we know is keeping our LTV low, and afterwards we'll analyze root causes behind it. Yes, again, so hopefully you feel the difference that here I'm super fuzzy, here I'm clearly saying what will be the method that we will use to achieve the outcome. Next one is how I process inputs as the CEO. I don't agree with you. Can you prove it? If not, then keep your fears to yourself. I see this is laughing. This is what is happening in meetings. And the second option is the CEO still is not agreeing, by the way. But what he responds, can you help me understand better how you see it? So these are the examples, and I led you through examples about each responsibility of lead polarity, how to approach each of the situations. And with that, I conclude the polarity framework. So summary, it is critical that we can create and sustain the creative tension. And there's leading polarity, which is like a stable rock, and contributing polarity, which is to explore the unknown. And we need to be able to choose and maintain polarities consciously. And we also need to impact the other side who is not sustaining it consciously. Now, on top of polarity framework builds up the creative collaboration method, because actually this method is that you use in meetings to discuss stuff, but it builds on it builds on polarities. So what is creative collaboration? I think that most of you have been in a situation where you go in a meeting with the idea to discuss something small. And then you come out from the meeting and you have actually absolutely new project idea, something much, much bigger. And what happened in between was you had a creative collaboration where instead of this, you suddenly uncovered this one. And then as a result, you are not anymore focusing on this, but now you are focusing on this one. So and sometimes it just happens by itself, but I want to show you the method that to use so that you can proactively design these situations. And the process actually is super, super simple. It is such that you initiate and define what you want to achieve. You receive the input, but you process the input not through thoughts, but first through feeling. And if you sense resistance inside of yourself, then you probe deeper. And through feeling, this literally means through gut feel, but we'll get to details. I will show a very simple example. So, and this is from real life. I had in spring a discussion with my colleague Martinch, and I told him, let's make a podcast about CEO productivity. He says, what for? I said, to sharpen our thoughts and to serve clients better, meaning I answered from my perspective. Then I processed a bit and I said, but what if we make a workshop on the same topic? So I already used feeling. And he said, I feel skeptical. Then I said, again processed, and I said, okay, but then let's make a broader company scaling program. And there he said, feels good. And this is how the Backbone 5-week company scaling program was kind of in a nutshell born. Okay, of course, this is super compressed and simplified version of the dialogue, but this is just to give illustration of how from something small, something much bigger can come up. And now I will walk you through the full process, but I purposefully put here this in big bold yellow that you don't need to use all steps always. I'm just expanding kind of what is all that you can use. So first is that I as a leader need to prime myself that I will be in lead polarity. I want to achieve certain thing, and whatever I will receive is valuable input, and I will use it somehow. Then second is I initiate the activity. I want to talk about X with you. And the next is I can encourage feelings with my own example. In a more metaphorical sense, if I want you to open your heart to me, I need to first open my heart to you. And the way to do it is to share some feelings and emotions. For example, I can say that I feel sad about how our LTV is at the moment, but I really trust that we will solve it. So therefore, let's talk. So I opened up a bit my heart. Next is I define the scope. Again, I say what we are going to talk about and what we are not going to talk about, because this is what gives safety also to the contributing polarity. And now the most important part starts. This is still a thing that you can sometimes skip, sometimes not, but to describe the method, this we already covered in the polarities. But this is the most important part where you ask and receive inputs. And you need to master art of asking questions through which a person opens up about their irrational and feeling side, that they can use their intuition, not only mind. The prime question is this one: what do you feel about it? So this is the question to use always. And here in gray I have added many more questions that you can use, and you can ask maybe ChatGPT. If I show you these questions, what other questions you can give me. But at least when I tried ChatGPT, it gave me bullshit proposals here. So again, use your intuition here, because you want to tap into feelings and intuition of the other person. So what do you sense about it, and so on. And then next is you also probe deeper. So tell me more, what do you feel about it, and so on and so forth. So we go deeper and deeper and deeper. For example, person says, I don't feel good about this proposal. And then you can say, okay, what do you sense? What do you sense is beneath my motivation here? For example, yes, that's an example how to go deeper. So the goal is to go deeper and deeper in order to get a mass of inputs from the other person, and then to process them with feeling and intuition. And the place where our feeling and intuition is, it's literally here. Yes, it's not here, but it's in the belly. And I literally use such process. When I perceive something which I, with mind, don't understand or I want to discard, then I literally imagine sending this message down, like boom, and what do I feel here? Boom, up, and what do I think about it? So this is what needs to happen in the creative collaboration process. So if you feel that someone said something, I don't like this idea about podcast, and I've immediately answered, then this is mind to mind. No creative collaboration happening. But if I heard something and I, boom, go to body, to my stomach, sense something, at least something physical at least, then come back to mind, it already will be something different that will come out of me. Hopefully it will be, tell me more, what do you feel about it? Here I gave also some additional questions that you can use. But the whole point is that actually, if you remember only one thing from this whole workshop, then this is why it's like with all these exclamations and with this yellow, because this is the most important part. What happens afterwards is that if necessary, you propose new idea, updated idea. Okay, what if we do this, or how about that? And then you repeat the process basically. But if you are in a management team discussion and you cannot find consensus here and your intuition is not catching it, then it's absolutely okay to say, thank you for your inputs. I have now gathered a lot of new information. I need time to process it and put the puzzle in pieces. I will take a break. Let's continue tomorrow. If something additional comes up for you, please send me a message. And that's it. And take a break and then continue on the next day. What is important reminder is to remember polarities, because this is what kills all creative collaboration, is that you start to rationalize or argue. I start to rationalize or argue. Yesterday evening, Martin sent me one super idea in WhatsApp and I wrote him answer. Luckily, I didn't send it. Martin is my colleague. I didn't send it because I felt this is absolute reaction what I'm writing. So I stopped it, put down the phone, went to sleep, and this morning already had completely different idea in mind. So get curious is the cure. And also remember about this, that if you see the contributing polarity going in one of those error modes, it's your responsibility to refocus them. But I want to highlight one thing here, and I will use actually even the marker, that if there's ongoing passivity, nagging, or unfruitful discussions, it's also a signal. What is it a signal about? Ongoing nagging might be a signal that your leadership abilities are not too well and the person is just fed up, that you only think that you are good at taking inputs but you are not. Or it might signal that this person, for him it's time to go already. Or at least it's time to have a one-on-one, but it's a signal about something. And ongoing unfruitful discussions, unfortunately, but in most cases, again, means only one of very few things. One is that you as a leader are not opening your heart, meaning you don't care about what's actually going on, or this other person is not opening his heart, meaning he doesn't care about what's going on. So everything is a signal in these cases. And in order to solve this, that we go into rationalization and arguing mode, we need to work on strengthening our lead polarity. Because all this irritation, it is a reaction. I will now give you one super simple tool that can help to get less reactive, and I will ask you to try it at the moment. So, and the tool is super simple. This is such, when you feel you are getting irritated, you do two moves. You breathe in and breathe out, and while you are breathing in, you move back in your chair, and when you are breathing out, you move down in your chair. Back, down. It doesn't even have to be visible to other people, like boom, don't need to be like that. But even a couple millimeters is okay. If you do it, you will feel immediate calming down, immediate. So this is like a pill that can fix irritation in a moment. Also, I have written one blog post with one method to train self-awareness. Okay, summary about creative collaboration. What are the steps? Initiate and define desired achievement, receive input, process through feeling. The most important part, go to your stomach and then thoughts, and don't resist and probe deeper. Now let's come back to the agenda. There's one last theory topic that I want to explain. This is the decide and commit method, which builds on the previous two tools that we just went through. And what it is for, it is that when we are in a management team, so that we get that everyone in the team contributes to the decision, that we decide together, and that everyone commits to execute or support executing the decision. So that's the goal of this. And therefore, when it is mostly useful, when we are discussing team-wide topics, like, for example, quarter topic priorities or hiring policy or annual objectives, so anything that is affecting whole team, whole company. And the way how we will go about it, I will explain you the process summary and then explain the process steps in detail. And when I'll get to details, some of the tiny details I will not kind of read. You will receive the slides and you will be able to read them by yourselves. So, but first I want to start with this also, although it will remind you a bit that this is a majority vote, it is not. It is a process of getting team buy-in. And the process is such that first you state your goal, what you want to achieve, then present a proposal, then make a vote, then collect inputs, then update proposal, and then vote again, and repeat it until it works for everyone, or in worst case scenario, there's only one person disagreeing. So that's the process. And now let's go into details how it's working. So first is presenting the goal. So I say that I want to confirm quarter priority. For example, quarter priorities with inclusive vote and secure everyone's commitment. And it's important that if you vote yes, you are saying I support this choice. It's not you are saying that I support that you will do it, but I support this as our choice. And there will be small print that you can read later, which at least in the first time when you do this vote in the team, you should say to your team things like, if you say yes, then you will not speak about it somewhere in corridors that you actually didn't think yes, that will be violation of our collaboration, and so on and so forth. Meaning you need to program your team that you here in this vote, you must say everything that is on your mind. Then the next step, you present your position or proposal. For example, you show what are the quarter priorities that we will be voting for, or whatever other topic that you want the whole team to commit to. And then comes the vote, and this is a bit specific thing. And before I show it, for those teams which are remote and digital, which is super important that you vote with hand signs, not with digital clicks, but you use hand signs, because this is body motion, and it's harder to lie to myself when I need to move my body, because body does not lie. Yes. So therefore, in the vote, we use hand signs. And what are the options? Options are three. Yes, I support. No, I feel concern, or no, I have objection and suggestion. And this way we give room for two types of inputs. One is feeling. I have no clue why I have objection, but I feel something is off. And another is logic. And we need to give room for both. And you can invent your own signs in team. For example, yes, no, I have a concern, and no, I have an objection, as an example. Yes. So this you agree in the team what hand signs you will use, and then you use these hand signs. And let's make a vote, and then you see, okay, this person showed this, and this person showed this, and this person showed this. And then you, as a next step, you collect inputs from those who voted 2 and 3. And the energy with which you collect input should not feel like punishing, because if it feels like punishing, then you are not in lead polarity, because you are not giving safety. Remember, in the very beginning, we need to give safety to contribute in polarity. And how we collect inputs? Well, we use creative collaboration process for it. So we say, what do you feel about it, to those who voted too? And then there are some other trick questions that you can use to extract new insights. For example, you can say, from 0 to 10, how big is your concern? He says 6, and then you ask, what would make it 7 for you? And this way you get more insights from the person. But remember, safety first. The person needs to feel safe while he's answering. And for those who said 3, it's simple. Tell what's your objection and how do you suggest to solve it. So you collect the inputs, and what happens next is you update proposal and make a new vote. That's as simple as that. So maybe the new part is this this way how we are voting here. But now what comes with this updating and voting again? So first of all, if you feel that the inputs are absolutely contradicting what you see, so 3 people are against, one feels fear or whatnot, and you have no clue how to update the proposal now, then brute forcing will not help. You will not reach alignment. Then you say, okay, thanks for your input. I need to take a break. Tomorrow I'll come with updated proposal. Then we continue discussion. But if you have a vote where already for second or third time everyone agrees except one person, well, in this case you can go ahead and with this person to explore individually and be open to possibility that his disagreement is a signal of one of two things. First is kind of simple. Maybe this person should be let go. Yes. But the other option is that this person is the only sane challenger type person in your team. Everyone else is yes man. They're just agreeing to everything that you're saying. And well, it's wisdom to know which is which, right? Because if you let go the only sane person who is challenger, then you are in trouble. So, but it's a signal. Someone needs to be replaced, either this person or the rest of the team, maybe. And if 2 or more people object, what happens then? Let me try to clean this mess. No, can't clean it. Okay. So if two or more people are objecting, then this means that you should not push ahead with this decision, but instead you need to zoom out. Because there's something you are clearly not seeing in the discussion. So remember this mountain picture. Just always remember, okay, I'm now focusing on this part of mountain only. Maybe as you were discussing quarter objectives, some people are saying something is not coming together. You should review year objectives. Maybe you should review management team profile. Maybe something is wrong in the company structure and so on. So, but you need to zoom out and you must not brute force decision despite that two in your management team are disagreeing. So that's basically it, how this method works. So it is designed so that you get everyone's alignment and commitment, and everyone decides to not only support in the moment of deciding, but in executing. And the process is goal, proposal, vote, collect inputs, update, vote again. And as I said, it's not majority vote, which means, yes, you may also brute force and say, no, anyways, this is my decision, we will go this way. That's why it's not a majority vote. Legally, you can decide whatever you want. Then in the beginning, we spoke about polarity framework, how to create creative tension, leading polarity, contributing polarity, and it's important to choose and maintain polarity. And we spoke about creative collaboration method. What I want to say here, world is bigger than the logical mind can see, and AI is nowadays making rational and thoughts a commodity. So everyone has access to same level of thoughts. Of course, we can get better at prompting, but still. And therefore, my question is such that in the age when all teams have access to thoughts and rational, which teams will win? Because something has to be different. And my answer is those teams will win which are better at using collective intelligence and collective intuition. And therefore now I want to come back to the beliefs that I said in the beginning, and let me kick off the Zoom poll, and I'd like to ask you to vote in Zoom. Here are those 3 beliefs, and could you please vote, say which one you believe in, which one you don't believe in. And with that we conclude the theory part. So what is going to happen next? We have a few minutes for Q&A. Please practice the skills. You will receive the slides in email. Further support, for free support, there's growth assessment on our website that you can always use when something feels stuck in the company. You can follow on Instagram, sign up on newsletter. Also for individual support, you can sign up for a mentoring session. And there's an upcoming company scaling program in February. So these links will work in the PDF you will receive afterwards. But now it's time for Q&A. Yeah, meanwhile, you can this QR code leads to my Instagram profile.